Hello, I'm Derek Terry, host of I'm Not Complaining, I'm Just Saying. Here at one of my favorite spots, the barbershop, where we know if you're gonna complain here, then you better provide solutions.
Good.
It's good. I firmly believe when we make other people's problems part of our conversations without providing solutions or prayer, then we become part of the problem. I want to be able to provide people with a platform where they can freely express their views on such topics as education, social issues, health and fitness. And that's good. Or sports. So please join me so we can complain and provide solutions together.
Hey, what's up, people? This is your man, Derek Terry, host of I'm Not Complaining, I'm Just Saying, where if you're going to complain, we bring some solutions to the table. Hey, welcome to episode 3. Today we have Nicole Kramer. She's running for Charles County Board of Education District 3 and is part of my voter education series where I encourage all citizens, specifically Charles County, to do your homework on the candidates, look at their platforms, websites, go to these public forums, answer those ask those tough questions, and let them answer. But for the most part, please educate yourself on the candidates. So I hope you enjoy the show. Grab a drink. Enjoy the show. Hey, Nicole, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Derek?
Hey, I'm doing fine, and thank you. This is actually your second time on the show.
Yes.
But we're gonna get down a little bit deeper than we did the last time. So for those who don't know, I am at Grill 13. So I want to thank Katie and their gracious workers for allowing us to come in here and do this interview.
Yes,
and
definitely.
and we'll talk about Grill 13 later, but I definitely appreciate it. So before we get started, tell us about Nicole, the person.
The person. Okay.
Person.
So I have lived in Charles County for about 18 years. I have 3 children that have all gone through public school in Charles County. So I have 2 older kids, daughters that graduated from North Point High School, and I have a son who's in 4th grade currently, so still got a ways to go in the school system. Lived pretty much in Waldorf the majority of the time. I did live further on sort of the Hughesville side when I first moved here, and then for about the last 10 years been sort of in central Waldorf. I work in the healthcare industry and have for about 20 plus years, so that's my career field of choice. That's pretty much it.
As I was looking at your bio, I said, oh, okay, because
yes,
I'm
that's
an
right.
8 years in the Army, so I see you're
I'm
Army
very
mom.
proud Army mom. Yes, my oldest daughter joined the Army when she graduated college last year. She went to Virginia Tech, and she was in the Corps of Cadets, and she ended up commissioning as an officer in the Army. So we're an Army family now.
She lieutenant, captain?
She is a second lieutenant.
Okay, well, second lieutenant, I salute you.
Thank you.
So now that we know about Nicole, let's get into the nuts and bolts of your campaign. And like I told all candidates, there's a lot of issues that are out there.
Yes.
And we know that you're sincere about all the issues, but we always say, okay, what are your top 3, top 4? And you have what you call 4 pillars for priority for Charles County Public Schools. One of it is equity for all students.
Correct.
So what do you see right now that it's not providing equity for the students, and then how would you try to change it?
Well, obviously the biggest thing that's taking precedent right now is the learning loss from the pandemic, which just basically, there was learning loss obviously prior to the pandemic, but of course the pandemic just kind of exacerbated things. It put an exclamation mark at the end of some things that were already taking place prior to the pandemic. So I just really want to focus on being able to bring those students up to where they need to be. And obviously, a lot of kids experience so many different challenges throughout the last 2 years, and the needs vary greatly. Depending on obviously their family situation or what their needs were prior to the pandemic, whether they were on virtual or not, whether they were withdrawn from school like some students were, and are just getting back this year. Some students are still on virtual this year, so obviously there's a variety of needs. So just want to focus on really getting our students back to where they need to be. Back to grade level for some students. That's what that means, because a lot of them are 1 to 2 grade levels behind currently, as according to the most recent data.
Okay. And me as a former educator, a lot of times students, I wouldn't say all of them, but in particular our special needs students, sometimes are coming in 1, 2 grades behind already. And I can imagine what COVID has done to that. And in trying to regain or retain some of that information.
Right.
So, you talk about bridging that equity gap between students with physical needs, students who have English as a second language, which are EL students,
Yep.
but special education I wanted to focus on because as a former special educator, I've noticed there's a lot of inequities, particularly with I guess with the system really giving the parents the attention they need when it comes to IEPs.
Absolutely. I've heard some of that myself.
So what has been some of your take on that?
I actually had the opportunity, great opportunity, eye-opening opportunity to substitute in a special education class recently. And I got to talk to the teacher, kind of one-on-one about, some of the problems that she is seeing, some of the issues that her students are facing. And from the teacher perspective, she had 2 students in the class at the, I guess beginning of, or I guess it was end of last year, or I guess it was the year before. I'm losing track of time now because of COVID. So anyway, pre-COVID, and they were, doing fairly well. They were progressing in terms of language, because these were kids who were nonverbal. And then of course with the loss of a year's worth of learning, they came back and they were almost back to, had regressed to being completely nonverbal again. Now, since the beginning of the school year, up until now, or a month or so ago, whenever that was that I talked to her, they are starting to show progress again. And they were speaking and were communicating verbally some when I was there. So definitely a lot of regression in terms of progress that had been made with special education students. Also, same thing with, English learners, obviously they had made some progress, but then they go back home and there are not English speakers at home. That obviously has caused some regression there.
Okay, but real quick before we go to a quick break, what is something that you think the board can do? Because I advocate, I've been in the school system, but I've also advocated for parents because for whatever reason, some of the schools or SPED or whatever have failed to implement the IEP due to compliance issues, whatever it may be. What is it that you feel as a board member you can do to ensure the parents don't have to go through just constant use of an advocate? Like, I don't mind, but what is it that you think you can do real quick before we go to a quick break?
It shouldn't be that difficult. I agree. You shouldn't have to always seek out an advocate, because sometimes those sources they have to pay for. The parents have to pay for, and they may not have the means to do that, particularly if they have a special needs child that they're already allocating a lot of extra resources toward. So I really think the biggest thing that the board can do is provide the support that the teachers need. Because, for example, the class I was in, she needed 4 IAs and she only had 2.
Wow.
So, there are those things that exist right now. They're not even meeting the standards in some instances because the supports and the resources just are not there. If you look at the list of needed substitutes each day, the majority is special education, whether it's teachers or IAs, because they just cannot get people in the classroom. So I think that's the biggest thing we can do is provide the supports to those teachers in the form of IAs, in the form of resources, so that, those needs that are indicated on the IEPs can be met. So I definitely think that's something that the board needs to commit to doing.
Okay, and you definitely touched on something that I'm going to talk about after the break, teachers and support, because with that,
is finances.
Correct.
And how do we deal with that? But there's also the workload and all the other things. So we're going to be right back. And like I told you, we're here at Grill 13. So shoot you a little promo about Grill 13. Once again, Katie, thank you for allowing us to come here. We'll be right back. All right, what's up, peeps? It's your man, Derek Terry. I'm outside Grill 13 and on a nice, beautiful day in the fourth largest city in Maryland, which is Waldorf. Just want to throw that plug in there. But at any rate, I just want to go over a couple things that Grill 13 is going to be having this coming week, April 9th. They're having their 9th anniversary of being in business. They're going to have a DJ at 9. So come get your party on, dance on, eat on, drink on, whatever. Just, hey, birds, I hear you too. You can come on, you invited as well. And then also on April 17th, they're having their Easter lunch, dinner, or brunch. I'm not sure which one it is, but highly recommend that you make reservations and you can contact them. Until then, I will see you, and let's take a quick look at what they have to offer. All right, y'all, we're back. And once again, thank you, Katie, Grill 13, and everyone for allowing us to be here to do an interview. I'm here with Nicole Kramer, who's running for Charles County Board of Education, District 3, and welcome back. So we want to get into teacher advocacy and support. Two of the big items here are recruitment and retention.
Yep.
What do you feel are maybe 2 or 3 things that could help bring teachers here, and I'm gonna say particularly teachers of color, as well as IAs or support staff. So what are 2 things you think that would help with that?
Okay, well, the first thing overall for recruitment is we have to have a more competitive, salary and compensation package, a benefit package. Money talks. I mean, that's just the reality, in a lot of industries. It's not unique to teaching. But if you look at a lot of the studies that have been done, a lot of teachers say that they haven't left due to salary, but a lot have. And it can't hurt, to bring them up to where St. Mary's or Calvert or Prince George's County salaries are for starting teachers. Now, the blueprint obviously is going to help with that. But there's still time. We're not going to get there if we follow the blueprints timeline until 2026. But obviously we need to do something before then.
And like I told another candidate, I haven't read the blueprint in its entirety, but it kind of sounds like the same old thing that's been going on for years and years. Yeah, we're going to give you the money, and then the money doesn't come. And
well, the blueprint says this is the requirement, and there is a AIB, so there's an implementation board that is supposed to be overseeing each county in the state to make sure that they meet the criteria for each implementation period. So like starting next school year, 2022-2023 year, there's certain criteria that needs to be in place. And there's an implementation board that's supposed to be ensuring that all of those things take place. Basically that the school systems are checking the boxes when they need to. And so by 2026, that is supposed to be in place, the $60,000 starting salary.
Now you said the key thing, supposed to.
Correct.
And I'm going to pose the same question that I posed to another candidate. Let's say base salary $60,000. So in 2026, whatever that year is, I'm a teacher currently who's at $60,000, and then a brand new teacher comes in and gets $6,000. If the starting salary was $45,000, they got a $15,000 increase as a new teacher. As a teacher who currently would have $60,000, I expect $75,000.
No, and there's like a step ladder. I don't know all of the
it's
details about it, but
when they talk about a step, I'm just telling you as a teacher, I'd be livid. I don't want to step. No, they get $15,000 raise. I want a $15,000 raise.
So you want an equal
raise.
amount, yeah. I don't know that is something, I mean, obviously we need to look at all the numbers and see what will happen if we bring in all of the new teachers at 60,000, and we obviously need to look at our current staff, our current teachers, and find out where they all are, sort of give an average, things like that based on tenure and all of those things. Now I know that there are additional salary increases. So for example, if you've been a teacher for X amount of years, you're supposed to get a $10,000 increase. If you're teaching at a Title I school, you get a $10,000 increase, those type of things. I don't know where that would make all of our teachers fall. I have no idea. I'd have to look at that data based on all the teachers that we have currently in the school system.
Well, I guess my thing is they're setting criteria for teachers that are already in the system. And for new teachers that are coming in, they haven't proved anything. They get 60,000 right off the bat. I don't know what these associations or unions are doing, but if this happens, and it's just my honest opinion, if they don't get the raise based on what the new teacher's salary is, regardless, I think they're going to have a far more teacher shortage, because in my mind it's not fair.
No,
If say the base salary is 45,000 this year, and we're just hypothetically, and then next year is 60, that's $15,000.
No, I hear you. No,
And
definitely.
the teacher haven't paid their dues yet. I
Right.
mean, not
No.
not dues to the union, but just teaching years.
Well, I think the premise, Derek, behind that, and I agree with, is that you have to show value to teachers. You have to show, that there is value in just what they had to do just to become a teacher. You know what I mean? And so I think that's where the $60,000 base salary is. But obviously, we can't forget about our tenured teachers, our teachers who have been with the school system for 10, 15, 20 years.
But it really shouldn't be any tenure, to be honest with you. I mean, if I'm in 3 years, I came in 3 years before this new teacher, I should get whatever they get. It should be retroactive with my salary.
No, I agree. I think you're right. I missed that part.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that's exactly what you were talking about. Yes, I think that with the 60,000, it's not just for new teachers. I think that anyone that will happen. It will be made retroactive.
If they're not
anyone
at
who
60.
if they're not at 60, they will be brought up to 60. Yes, I think that if I'm correct in the blueprint, of course, it's a huge document, and I will. Full disclosure, have not read the full thing either. I've read a lot of the research about it and a lot of the summary articles. I've listened into the board meetings where they discussed it, the work plans and all of that, but no, I have not read it completely. Obviously, that's something I'll need to delve into a little bit more, but that's my understanding, is that everyone will be brought up to a minimum of 60,000. That's my understanding.
Okay. And one other thing before we go to your next pillar. We talked about the pay, but what other incentive can the system provide to either recruit or retain teachers?
I would like to see some student loan forgiveness opportunities for teachers, because I know in other counties they do currently do things like that. Prince George's County does it. And I think Montgomery County, I'm not 100% sure, but there are other counties that do it. And I'd like to see that. Other industries do it. I'm in the healthcare industry, like I said, and we do it for nurses. And so I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see some student loan forgiveness opportunities. I'd like to see some bonuses. We currently give bonuses if you're in a Title I school, if you stay for 3 years and all of that. But I'd like to see bonuses just to recruit, period, for teachers, to attract them here, because Charles County is great, for people who are here. We love it here. We have great things to say about it. But if you're from, somewhere else in the state, or maybe Virginia or a surrounding state, you don't know how great Charles County is. So we need to do something to attract them here. So those are some things that I'd like to do to incentivize them. Also, maybe some housing subsidies. Again, I know in healthcare, we've done things to incentivize providers to come to the Southern Maryland area who typically don't work here. So we've done things like purchase homes that we allow the providers to stay at for a particular period of time, a set period of time, at no cost, to give them time to find homes in the area so that they can plant roots here and stay here. So I'd like to look into doing some things like that. Of course, it all comes down to money and funding and all of that. And I'll be looking to work with the commissioners, that come on board to be able to help support us in that.
Okay. Now, one thing I would like to see, and I'm speaking to all candidates, including you, is that within education, public education, to begin with, I don't know any other profession or organization, whether it's corporate, federal, whatever, that says, okay, you have to be certified for your job. Oh, by the way, you need to pay for it too. this is what they do to teachers.
No, I agree.
And to me, it's a slap in the face. And it's saying, you know what, we don't value your certification because you have to pay for it. Now, in some cases, they may reimburse, but not a lot, and maybe not 100%. So I'm not necessarily throwing it out there to whether or not it's something that you have a plan for, but it's something to think about.
No, it's definitely a great
something to
idea.
think
I
about.
agree. Again, I work in healthcare, and we reimburse for any certification that's required for your job. Again, like you said, may not be paid for up front, but if you pay for it and you pass the certification or your renewal or whatever it is that's required for your job, they are reimbursed. And so I don't see why teachers should not be reimbursed. I know also for the board certification, they give them like a little bonus. But
I guess like 3,000. I don't know. It's not much. It's not even
great.
much if you get a PhD. It's not
Exactly,
much.
it's not great. But yeah, again, I'd like to see, more value placed towards national board certification, because that's also part of the blueprint. They want to increase the amount of teachers who are board, national board certified. And so what's the way to do that? You have to incentivize them to do it, because if there's no incentive for them to go and make that happen, I'm just going to stick with my state level certification. So we have to provide incentives for teachers to want to do that.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and close out with your two final pillars. I'm kind of going to flip it around because your last pillar,
They kind of go together.
yeah, they kind of go together, but I want to do the other one first, and we'll explain why. So we'll be right back. All right, peeps, I'm back. I'm actually around the back of Grill 13. They have outside seating. I'm going to show it to you in a second, but what I wanted to do real quick is let you know of some upcoming events that Grill 13 will have coming out in May. On May 7th, they're having a drag brunch. And on May 8th, they're having a Mother's Day. I don't know if it's a brunch, lunch, or dinner, but they're having some food and drink. So highly encourage you to make your reservations. And what I wanted to show you, if I get a chance, as you can see, they have, I wonder where Katie got that idea from. Hint, hint, hint. But hey, we like it. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. So as you can see, in the summertime, you probably won't need these. But what I will tell you is that on a day like this, a little breezy, that fire feels good. So once again, Grill 13 in Waldorf, Charles County, and not only have good food, but they have a lot of amenities that will benefit you. Until then, before I say that, if there's any business out there that for the most part is looking to get promoted, let me know, because when the business do good, we do good. Until then, peace and blessings. Okay, so welcome back. This is has definitely been a pleasure interviewing you, Nicole. This is the second time, and although there may be some slight things we disagree with, but I like the fact that any board member is open to listen.
Absolutely.
And that's really the key. Now, the two ones your last two pillars is community and family engagement, and transparency and open communication. So I'm going to start with transparency and open communication. What is one major thing you would like to see or implement, and why?
I'd just like to see more openness and more timeliness of communication, because I think I have seen some improvement with Dr. Navarro and the current board trying to listen to the community and provide open work sessions and things like that, which had not been taking place prior to, I think, last year. Never seen a work session be open to the public, and so I'm glad to see that, but I would just like to see more of it, more of the typical sessions that were closed to parents, at least if they're not provided, live streamed and things like that. At least if we can provide some timely notes or summary, agenda items, things like that to parents, so that they can know what's being discussed at these sessions, what was the outcome of those discussions, and what's next up on the agenda, what are the next steps, So just like to see just more information sharing, and definitely in a more timely manner, because that's something that I'm hearing a lot from parents, is that even when information is shared, it's sort of after the fact or after decisions have been made, and they want to know about it ahead of time before the decisions have been made, so that they can have an opportunity to have a voice and have an opinion, state their ideas or concerns about whatever the topic is that's going to concern their child's education.
Okay. All right. So now we're into, I call it one of my favorite topics because it's the one that gets me the most heated, especially as a former educator. Of course, I'm a parent. Is community and family engagement. We know
It's one of my favorites too.
And we know at the elementary level, typically that's where you have a high involvement with community and family engagement.
Yep.
Middle school, you see it start to dwindle, and when you get to high school, you're only
almost
showing up
non-existent.
unless it's a sporting event.
Yep.
And I'm not running for anything, so I can pretty much say, you know what, parents, if you stop participating at the high school level and something happens, what happened? Why aren't you there? My thing, we're a reactive society. Yeah, social media is good, but social media is not going to get the job done when it comes to your child.
Right.
So what is something that you would like to see in terms of community involvement, and family engagement throughout all grade levels?
I would like to see just simply more parents at the places that they need to be, that has decisions being made about their child's education. They're asking for it. They're asking for input. But as you mentioned, when I go to sporting events, I mean, it's packed.
Oh yeah, it's packed.
The football stadium, the basketball, bleachers, everything is packed. But when I have been on PTSOs for every school that my children have been in, there's maybe 6 to 10 people. If it's a great night, there may be 15. And some of those are teachers, so it's not even all parents. Same thing when you go to the board meetings, there's not a lot of engagement. There's not a lot of attendance. There's not a lot of community or parents speaking up. I've been to board meetings where I was the only speaker at the board meeting.
Me too.
And so I just feel like, okay, if you want me to advocate for you as a parent, and I'm a parent too, my son is in school as well, so whatever I'm advocating for parents and expecting from parents, I'm saying I'm expecting for myself and advocating for myself as well as a parent. But if you want to have a voice and have an opportunity to have a seat at the table when decisions are being made, then you have to be visible, and you have to hold yourself accountable and hold your children accountable as well, because just the teachers cannot do it alone. So if the teachers are trying to reinforce things at school that are not then being reinforced at home, there's only one piece of the puzzle. And ultimately, parents are responsible for their children's success, and so we really need to see a lot more parents involved, a lot more parents working together with the school community, because it's a whole, larger picture to have. You can't just have one piece to the puzzle. You need to have the school and the teacher support, but you also need to have the parent support, because if the family is not being supportive of what's going on in school and vice versa, then the whole system is going to break down.
Okay, so we're about to close out, but what I want to do is quickly, for about a minute, what I call a word association. I'm gonna say a word, 10 seconds. You can just say one word. You can say a couple words. Okay. So we're gonna start with something very simple. Waldorf.
Charles County.
Okay. Kindergarten.
Children.
All right. Dallas Cowboys.
Football.
You're not gonna say favorite team?
No, I'm not gonna say that.
All right. Interview's over. No, I'm kidding. and then the last thing. Board of Education member.
Integrity.
Okay. So, and then the last thing, and it's more like, why should District 3 vote for Nicole Kreamer?
Just one word?
No, you can say in about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Your elevator speech.
District 3 should vote for me because, like I said, I have a stake in the game. I have as much skin in the game as every parent out there does. I have a child in the system, and whatever I want to see for your children, I want for my own child. And so I'm going to advocate for your kids and your family just like they were my own children and my own family. So in me, you have an ally. and someone that really takes education seriously and wants the best for not just my child, but all children in Charles County.
And how can they reach you? We'll put it up on there, but how can they, your website, email, how can they get and learn more about your platform?
Absolutely. So I'm on all social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Nicole Kreamer for School Board, variations
And that's
of
EA.
that. Correct, Krea. So hopefully everybody gets that. It's like Kreamer with a K.
Yeah.
But it's pronounced Kramer. But yes, Nicole Kreamer for School Board. And then my website is NicoleKramerForSchoolBoard.com. Like I said, Twitter, Kramer for Board. There's little variations because, of course, Twitter and Instagram have a shorter tagline that you can use. But I'm on, like I said, all social media. You can also email me, NicoleKramerForSchoolBoard@gmail.com. So I'm very accessible, willing to meet with anyone at any time. So reach out to me anytime.
Okay. Well, once again, I thank you for being a guest on the show. Like I tell all candidates, I wish you and all of them the best of luck.
Thank you.
And anything I can do to, help promote all candidates, because at the end of the day, I just want to educate people. And this is one way we can do it. So
Definitely.
we appreciate it. And to everybody else, you got the information. Peace and blessings.
Blaze the path.